Welcome to HCS Talks. I'm your host, Superintendent of Hampton City Schools, Raymond Haynes. Welcome to Season 2 of HCS Talks, our Hampton City Schools podcast. Our goal is to educate, inform, and even entertain both our local community and listeners beyond. Each episode will cover a variety of topics from education and student success to the efforts of our teachers, support staff, parents, and community partners. We'll also dive into programs and initiatives offering something valuable and informative for everyone. We hope you will join us and continue tuning in to HCS Talks. Today I have the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Sharon Slater, one of our middle school principals here in Hampton City Schools. She is a seasoned administrator who has quite a bit of experience at the middle school level, and she is here to discuss the ins and outs of middle school with us. So welcome, Ms. Slater. Thank you for joining us today on HCS Talks. Before we jump into our discussion, would you please introduce yourself to our listening audience?
Sure. Good morning, and thanks for having me here this morning. I am currently serving as Jones Magnet Middle School's principal, where I've been for the last 6 years. Prior to Jones, I served as principal for 3 years at Eaton, and previous to that, 5 years as principal at Sims. I've served as an assistant principal at Eaton and Phoenix Pre-K through 8, and spent my classroom time as a teacher at Bethel High School, where I was hired when I came to Hampton City School. So all of my experience in education has been with Hampton.
So you said Sims for 5, Eaton for 3, and your 6th year at Jones. So that is 14 years of principal experience?
That's correct.
Prior to that, you were the assistant principal at Eaton?
That was my first AP experience, yes.
And then you were the assistant principal at
Phoenix Pre-K through 8 during its inaugural year.
Is that right? So how was that experience for you?
That was a learning experience for me. That was my first foray into elementary, the elementary world. I worked under your leadership, of course. You opened that school, but worked for a short time as the Pre-K through 2 assistant principal, and it was a whole new world and a learning experience for me. I was only there a short time before I transitioned over to Sims, but it was a good experience.
So how was the K2 experience for you?
I'm
laughing because I know some of those stories.
Yes, it kept me rolling. There's a big learning curve. Good teaching is good teaching, but there are definitely differences at each level. And so I was just getting immersed and educated in the challenges of elementary ed when I made the transition over to Sims. But it was a good experience.
Did it keep you up at night?
From time to time, yes.
So all of your experience in terms of the field of education has been in Hampton. So prior to going into administration, you were teaching at Bethel?
Bethel High School. I was hired there by Mr. Saunders, and I spent 5 years at Bethel High School before transitioning into administration, and was lucky enough to be part of the first cohort Hampton City Schools did with Old Dominion University to prepare teachers to become administrators and leaders in the school division. So that's how I made that transition from teaching into administration with Hampton.
So that first cohort, that was a cohort where you got everything paid for, huh?
I knew you were going to say that. We were very fortunate. We did not enter in with the prospect of having it all paid for. I think initially it was to be partially funded, but in the end, Hampton did foot the bill for the entire
Did you have to pay for books? Anything?
I did pay for books, I think, but
I don't think you did.
Well, maybe it's been a while. So, but we were fortunate. The first group, indeed.
So the very first cohort. Following that, you went straight into administration. So we certainly appreciate your years of service with Hampton City Schools and the positive impact you have made in the community as a whole. So
thank you.
Let's dive into some conversational pieces. How has middle school education evolved over the past decade from your perspective?
Well, I think it's evolved in a number of ways. The things that most readily come to mind. I definitely think we take a much more holistic approach to teaching and learning maybe than we did even 10 years ago. We understand the importance of educating the whole child and the importance of that social emotional learning piece to students being able to engage readily in their learning environment and benefit from instruction. I think also, we always look at test scores. They are a measure, but they are not the sole measure. And we are taking a more holistic approach in terms of looking at cross-curricular kinds of approaches. And with our transformation, Master Plan 2.0, obviously that's focusing on helping kids develop those key competencies. It's more than just learning content. It's learning how to apply that content to solve real-world problems and apply it in real-world contexts, particularly in the context of their local community. So that's a huge transformation for us. And it's been an exciting year for us as we embark on that this year in middle school. So I think that's one of the biggest changes.
So with Master Plan 2.0, you mentioned solving real-world problems. So young people are actually doing their problem-based or project-based learning projects on actual issues that are germane to the Hampton community, correct?
That's correct. Our 8th graders just finished their capstone project. That was the theme of 8th grade is your community and your impact within your community. So students have been working throughout the school year. It's embedded in their language arts curriculum. And they were to explore a passion and interest of theirs, a community problem, choose that, research that, and propose solutions that they might employ to solve that problem. We had our building level showcase a little over a week ago, and all students presented in their language arts class, and then we chose 2 winners at the school level, and they presented last week to a in-house group as well as a variety of community partners. So that we had our building level showcase, and then they will participate in Saturday's division level showcase. So that's been a really positive experience for our students.
Wow. So totally shifting things and making, I guess, learning even more relevant for young people as we go through this Master Plan 2.0 and ensuring all of our young people will be prepared to be the portrait of a Hampton graduate when their time comes to walk across that stage during their senior year as well.
Yeah, I definitely think kids are engaged with it.
So why is it essential to cultivate a positive school culture for students, staff, and families?
Well, I mean, the school culture really just impacts not only students, but staff and parents. It just sets the tone for the feel of the school and their experience with school. So it can be positive or negative. And of course, we strive for it to be a positive culture where, students, if they feel that they're known by name, that they have strong relationships with their teachers and with other staff members within the school, then they feel connected. And that, of course, sets them up to feel safe to take risks, academic risks in the classroom, and to, benefit from instruction. So with parents, it's critical. We need their involvement. We welcome their involvement when we can work in partnership with parents. It's for the benefit of the students and the school. And so it's important that we make space and for parents to be a part of our school community and to actively engage with us. So school culture is a big part of that.
How do you think the middle school athletics plays a part in this?
It's been great. We have had such tremendous response, girls and boys, in terms of their desire to be a part of those teams. It gives them, for many of them, it's an incentive because they know that they've got to maintain positive behaviors and they've got to focus on their academics first in order to be a part of their team and to earn playing time. So that's been a good thing. For many of them, it's helped them to further develop their skills with time management. So they learn to juggle the extracurriculars with their academics, and it's built school spirit.
Yes.
Our staff, are enthusiastic and attending, and our parents are more rabid fans, I think, than even staff and students. So it's been a real morale and like I said, spirit boost. I think it's been nothing but positive.
Makes sense, because one of the goals has always been to make certain that we have young people engaged in after-school activities or extracurricular activities, whether it's athletics or clubs, with a mentorship component attached to it. So them connecting with the coaches and staff members and being a part of recognizing how impactful that school spirit is in competition, I think goes a long way.
It does indeed.
So the middle school years are a critical time for emotional development, as you know. How do you support students' social and emotional well-being?
Well, I mean, we all know that middle school age is a time of big emotions and a lot of change that occurs in a fairly short period of time. And so it is critical that we're there to kind of support students, like I said, not just developing academically, but also emotionally and socially. You know, I think the key to all of it is relationships. At the heart of it, that's the bedrock of any good instruction, of a positive school culture. Relationships are key. And so we really focus, not just teachers, but all staff, on getting to know students by name. You know, the power of greeting a student by name in the morning and welcoming them each day so that they know that they're valued, that we're glad they're there, that we want them there, need them there, they add something, that's important. You know, and that's not just teachers and not just administrators who tend to be your frontline people, but that goes for the office personnel, your cafeteria staff, security. It's building a family, and so the relationship piece we know is key. You know, I think additionally in the classroom, teachers build that community, and any teacher that's teaching today knows that you've got to know your content and you've got to have sound pedagogy, but you're going to also be teaching and modeling social emotional skills and helping them build those competencies.
And we've been intentional in actually embedding SEL into our curriculum as well. So how has that played out, and what type of feedback are you getting from, I guess, teachers and young people as well?
Well, I know teachers appreciate not only embedding those intentionally within the curriculum at meaningful points. It's kind of planned for them, so to speak. Of course, they kind of implement it organically,
Right.
but I think additionally, the division does a good job of supporting teachers in knowing how to teach and
Right.
support those competencies.
Right.
So,
You know, the support structure is not just for students, but we have it for staff as well. So we once again have been intentional in making certain we had SEL as a priority for us. So it goes hand in hand, SEL with our core business teaching and learning in the core subject areas as well. So we know that, like you've been mentioning, it takes us to a more holistic approach to making certain young people prepared for as they transition from elementary to middle and middle to high, and that our staff feels well equipped to ensure that they're providing quality Tier 1 instruction to include the SEL component as well. So how do you ensure that every student has the opportunity to thrive academically, regardless of their learning style or background?
well, I think, we recognize that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. We teach children, individuals, and so we've got to be prepared as educators to differentiate. First, we've got to get to know them. I mean, we can't meet their needs if we don't understand them as individuals, where they are academically, whether they might have learning gaps, or perhaps they're above grade level, and we've got to challenge them appropriately. But also, knowing a bit about their background, what their interests are, perhaps particular challenges that might impact their ability to engage with us here in the school day. So we've got to know who they are as individuals, and then we've got to have the skill and the will and mindset to deliver differentiated instruction that properly supports them and challenges them. So that's something as well. I think our school division does a good job in supporting teachers and continuing to develop strategies for differentiation to support all learners, regardless of their preferred learning style and where they are academically.
It's an excellent response, but it also sounds like someone who's had some training and background in special education as well. Is that how you got started in this?
It is. I did. started I was a special education teacher, and that is all about looking at the individual needs of students and building on those strengths that they have and helping to scaffold and support their development in areas where maybe they're not where they need to be.
So you recognize those techniques and strategies are impactful for all young people, regardless of whether or not they have a disability. So in what ways does the community contribute to the success of our middle schools?
Well, I mean, I think it goes beyond just what we typically think, resourcing and money. You know, I think the transformation that's taking place in Hampton City Schools is a testament to the power of community impact and the power that can come from a community and a school system that are integrally connected and working toward the same goal of positive outcomes for kids. And, you know, the partnerships that, you know, you look at it at the macro level with our school division and the transformation with Academies of Hampton. I look at it within our school community in terms of developing partnerships that impact our kids directly day to day. And one example that just comes to mind, we 2 years ago had two teachers, very dynamic teachers, Ms. O'Hanlon and Ms. Pearson, who decided to reinvigorate our drama club, and they have invested a great deal of time, energy, and effort into this endeavor. And, you know, also to the credit of our students, we have a core group of students who are super, super invested, love drama, and have been invested to building this over the last couple of years. And Ms. Pearson and Ms. O'Hanlon have developed a partnership with the American Theater and Phoebus. And through that partnership, our students have been able to go over to the American Theater and participate in a workshop with their staff to learn more about set design and performance and that kind of thing. They've been over here last spring when our students were auditioning for their spring production to provide them feedback and support. And we're really excited, just found out that we're going to be able to hold one of our spring performance of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory there at American Theater next month. So they'll be able to perform, and that will be open to the community. So our students and sponsors are super, super excited about that. That's the power of community partnerships. It's a win-win.
I did not know that. So
we couldn't say anything until it was firm.
Right. So have you all connected with or done any work with the Performing Arts Academy at Kecoughtan?
Not a great deal. That's an opportunity, an area for us to explore as to how we can make that connection a little stronger. We've had some interactions with Ms. Bourne and some collaboration, but on a very limited extent.
I would imagine that a lot of the young people, just based on their experience with the drama club here, would probably show an interest in transitioning to the Performing Arts Academy at Kecoughtan.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're looking at, I know you just mentioned with the theater, but looking at how perhaps some of them could be a part or do some performances at the Black Box Theater that we actually have at Kecoughtan.
Yeah, I have seen that. Right.
So I think that would actually be another good connection for the young people here at Jones to work hand in hand with the Performing Arts Academy at Kecoughtan, and just having Miss O'Hanlon and Miss Pearson reaching out to the academy principal at Kecoughtan too.
It's definitely an opportunity for us to expand, so that's a good suggestion.
How significant is parent involvement in a student's success, and how can parents stay actively engaged in their child's education?
Well, I mean, I think arguably parents are probably have the biggest impact on students in terms of not just their schooling, but just life in general. The impact of parents can't be understated, and that's why we work really hard to cultivate strong relationships with our parents, to engage them, and to help them become a vital part of our school community so we can all work in partnership, students, parents, and staff. You know, part of it is making sure that we get to know them. Like I come back to the power of relationships, but it is critical that we know our parents by name, that we create a welcoming environment where they want to come in and partner with us and engage. Communication is key. Parents, in order to engage, they need to know what's going on. And so we are lucky to have a variety of tools and platforms that enable us to keep, I think, parents well informed, not only about their students' academic progress, but also about what's happening in the school and how they can become a part of those activities. So parents, the importance of parents being involved can't be overstated.
And then making certain they stay involved, because they tend to be very much involved at the elementary level, and then there's some involvement at the middle school level, and then it sort of wanes oftentimes as they get into high school. But we want to make certain that they stay involved in some way, shape, or form at all levels as well.
Yes, very true.
So Ms. Slater, what do you find most rewarding about being a middle school principal?
There are a lot of rewards. I think it's the relationships I get to build with kids. I keep harping on it, but that is at the heart of everything. I'm humbled. I'm sometimes overwhelmed at the opportunity for impact that we really have. I mean, I think there are few professions that have the potential for impacting students for good or for bad, really,
right.
Than teaching. I think about the impact my teachers have had. I've had a conversation last week with my 5th grade teacher from With. I still keep up with her. I'm approaching 60. She's in her early 80s, and we still maintain a relationship. And that's the power of those relationships that we are privileged enough to be able to build.
And every time you see her, you revert back to your
I do. I feel like a 10-year-old. But I genuinely love her, and her impact, is still felt. And that's what I, hope on some level I have a positive impact on students the way she did on me.
Well, you most certainly do. And I'm sure young people come back and share stories with you, or maybe getting invitations to graduations and weddings by now, just based on the impact that you've made and the relationships you've built with young people over the years. So what advice would you give to families preparing for their child's transition to middle school?
Well, I think, in those later elementary school years, a real important thing is to begin. Of course, you're continuing to support them, and they need that, but encouraging them to begin to become a little bit more independent, encouraging them to have conversations with their teachers, problem solve a bit on their own with your support, advocate for themselves. All of those are things that we can start to instill and support in students, and particularly in the last year or two of elementary school, become more independent and scheduling their time and setting a routine for studies and those kinds of things. But also taking advantage of orientations and programs that help them to educate themselves about what middle school options are out there for their students, so that they can make choices they think are the best fit for their student. And then, of course, once they make a selection, participating in open houses and orientations so that their students can begin to make connections in the school with staff and learn about that school and the expectations and feel well prepared when they start on day one.
Right. I would also say, families should also encourage their children to branch out and meet new people as well. As you move from elementary to middle school, larger student populations overall, and you'll connect with different people. So I think it's always important that they get a chance or opportunities to meet new people and recognize that diversity exists in the world, and it's okay to be different. And just being able to have those conversations with folks you haven't talked to before, but also feeling as though, once you get into middle school, you're finding that trusted adult that you can go and have those conversations with if you need someone to talk to, or if you're feeling some anxiety or what have you. So those are the types of things I even talked to my daughter about when she transitioned from elementary to middle school as well. All of those things I found to be pretty impactful in ensuring that transition was as seamless as possible.
Yes.
So, Ms. Slater, as we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to talk with you this morning. I'm excited about where we're going in Hampton City Schools, and this has been a exciting year. It's been a challenging year as we embark on some new things, but I think we're headed in a great direction. I'm glad to be a part of it.
We certainly thank you for joining us today and the tremendous impact that you're making on the lives of young people and in the community as well. And we certainly thank you for emphasizing the significance of those middle school years. I'm quite sure our listeners have gained valuable insight from our conversation today. And to our listeners, remember, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. As one community, one transformation, we will ensure academic excellence for every child, every day, whatever it takes. We'll catch you next week.
Listen to learn more about Hampton City Schools. New episodes of HCS Talks drop on Thursdays. Subscribe and listen to HCS Talks. HCS Talks is a Hampton City Schools production.